Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. And, I'm just going to be up front. I may be in a slightly bad mood, and some innocent movies may take the brunt of it. You have been warned.
Yes, indeed. If you are returning, welcome back. If you're new, what we do here is we critique stuff from our corners. You just basically review whatever we feel like. And this week we've got a nice full slate of classic and somewhat newer movies, newer stuff. And For our first movie of the night, we are going to be talking about Miracle.
Yes, Miracle. A movie that I had sort of heard about in passing before. I hadn't realized it was a Disney movie, and I also hadn't realized that it wasn't actually a movie from the 80s.
It was a
Because I
movie
kind of
about
heard,
it was about the 80s, yeah. But
right,
yeah,
I'd heard about it spoken about as if it were a contemporary of things like Rudy or whatnot.
oh yeah. Yeah, this is a movie that I actually saw this in the theater when it came out. Because at the time, this came out like what 2004, 2005, somewhere around there.
2004. Yep.
2004, yeah, yeah. So at that time, I and the rest of my family were really big hockey fans. We're mainly the Colorado Avalanche because the year we moved to Denver was also the year that they moved to Denver, and their first year there they won the Stanley Cup. So we really got into hockey and so
And the
then we
Canadians are going, but you guys don't even care about that sport.
yeah yeah but yes yes there might be some bad blood there but anyway, but yeah. So one of the aspects of the game of hockey was the story about the 1980 U.S. men's hockey team in the Olympics. The great, as they call it, the Miracle on Ice, when a bunch of upstart underdog, this underdog team of college age kids or going up against the formidable Soviet Union, who were at the time they were the best hockey team in the world, and they beat them and beat them in America. That was the big thing because the Olympics were in Lake Placid that year, and so it just became it was a big inspirational story, not just in the sports world, but in like the history of the country, history of the world, because at that time America was going through a really rough time.
Right. You had Watergate, pulling out of Vietnam, stagflation, the oil embargo,
Yeah,
just a general, what our former president, Jimmy Carter, would refer to as malaise.
malaise, yes, and a crisis of confidence. Which I remember sitting in the theater when that part of they played that speech in the opening credits of the movie, and my dad leaned next to me and he said, "Yeah, he really said that." Hey, Arcos, good to see you.
Hello.
This and the Mighty Ducks movies are some of the best sports movies ever made. I don't even care about hockey. Yeah, I mean, I definitely would, for me at least, I would put it in my top sports movies. Although DB you seemed more lukewarm on it, I think.
Yeah, I'll admit that. So let's talk about the cast a little bit before we get into that.
Okay.
The so the so this was Walt Disney. Was this a Touchstone picture, or had they dissolved it by this point?
I think they'd almost dissolved it, all but dissolved it by this point. No, it was a straight up Disney movie.
Okay, because
Because we watched it on Netflix, so that might be the confusion there.
right, it is unusual that they would license that out outside of Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, So, anyways, the big get, of course, is Kurt Russell
Yeah.
as the cantankerous coach who had been at the 1964 Olympics, 60 Olympics,
60.
60,
Yeah.
and had gotten eliminated and didn't get to play.
Yeah.
Um, and so ever since then, he's had this burning desire to go take a team to the Olympics and win.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they probably Disney probably played up a lot of that stuff for the movie. I do know that because I mean if you're interested in the story of the team, like there are plenty of documentaries out there you can watch. Actually, ESPN for their 30 for 30 series, they actually did two documentaries. They did one from the Americans' perspective, and they actually did one from the Soviets' perspective. And those were really good. I thought those were very well made. But the whole thing with Herb Brooks, who's the coach, I mean, his goal when he was coaching, when he was putting the team together, was putting a roster together that of guys that could beat the Soviet Union. That was his main thing. Because he knew the only way they could win a gold medal was they had to beat the Soviet Union, and that team was put together specifically to beat the Soviet Union. And yeah, and if I remember right, he was a bit of a hard ass with them for most of it.
Yeah, as he's portrayed in the movie, he's kind of a monster.
Yeah, I don't know if he was ever. I don't know if he ever really went that far. He might have. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, but yeah, there were points in there where like, yeah, that he was really just going a little overboard. Especially
Like hours of drills.
right, yeah. Well, the famous scene in the movie when they're playing Norway in an exhibition game and they tied with them, and he got ticked off with him, so he made him skate up and down the ice for hours after the game.
Yeah, a little crazy.
Yeah, a little crazy. Yeah, and good to see you, Ninja.
Hey, Ninja.
Yeah, I will say that some of it was probably, like I said, the movie is a bit Disney-fied in terms of, like, if you've watched enough Disney sports movies, they all kind of have like a feel to them, and there's a little bit of that with this movie. And of course, okay, so the another hey man, good to see you. What's the language though? We have to. I'm sorry, man. I gotta delete that comment. I can't. Gotta no language, no foul language in the comments, please. But
Oh my.
yeah. By the way, mods, if you ever see anything in there like that, just go ahead and get rid of it. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the guys who were playing the players. The
You were saying they were mostly like real hockey players, right? Not so much actors as
right, yeah, they were actual hockey players. Yeah, they were they weren't actors. Yeah, there a lot of them I think at the time they were all like college hockey players. And but I will say a couple of them were actually real actors, like the guy who played Jim Craig, who was the goalie. He was on CSI New York.
okay.
And then one of the other players, the guy Ralph Cox was the name of the player, but the actor's name was Kenneth Mitchell, and he was a professional actor. But other than that, like I think most of them were all played played by just straight up hockey players. So that might make the performances are a little stilted in a few places.
Yeah, the script is also a little bit stilted too, just in the sense that there's a lot of tell, don't show
Mm.
in some of the dialogue.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like especially like say the scenes between the coach and his wife were all like just very people stating their emotions clearly.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, although I will say with those scenes, like uh being a coach at that level, whether they're coaching in the Olympics or like collegiate coaches or professional coaches, they like their personal lives, their family dynamics are like that's kind of how they are. You know,
Right.
they
Oh no, I see. Here's the
no,
thing.
no.
I wasn't disagreeing with like him being a bit distant and preoccupied. Like that made perfect sense.
Oh, okay.
It's more just like, honey, did you not understand what you were signing up for?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's working towards his life goal at the moment, and
Yeah. You're pestering about picking their son up from hockey practice.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but you're just saying like, well, we should have we should have talked about it or whatever. Yeah, yeah, that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Now, as far as I actually like some of the hockey players. I kind of wish we had some more scenes with them interacting because some of the rivalries there were my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so the team that Herb Brooks puts together was filled with mainly guys from Minnesota and Boston. And if you know anything about hockey, uh, you talk about two parts of the world and in that sports world that don't like each other.
Yeah, and a bunch of goon squads, which means something very different in hockey.
Yes, it does. Yeah. uh, but but yeah, but I will say like, well, the best part of the movie though is when they finally get to the Olympics and then they're playing, then they get to the big game against the Soviet Union, which, of course, the fact that it was that game was broadcast live, they had a lot of material to work with there. They had no excuse for being inaccurate with that.
Plenty of reference material.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
that actually might be part of the movie's problem is that there was just so much reference material in terms of like all the games that they played and the fact that like I think pretty much everybody on the team when they made the movie from that team was still alive when they made the movie and when they would have been like in their 40s and 50s.
right. Although the coach apparently died after principal photography wrapped up.
Yeah, that was weird. He fell asleep while he was driving.
Oh,
Yeah. I remember when it happened. Yeah, it was one of those freak things. And he wasn't very old either. I want to say he was like 60s, I think.
that would track with what we were seeing.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, the overall I think the movie's I enjoy the movie. I think it's a good movie, although I would highly recommend pairing it with a documentary about the team. That way you've got some really good reference material for this movie and
Right.
it's
Who's who
yeah,
at the zoo?
right. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and like I mentioned before we got started with it, I kind of had a lot of my spare time eaten up over the weekend, and last night unintentionally. So I was kind of up against the wire to watch the show in time, since
Mm,
I do have a dirty day job.
yeah.
So that was almost certainly impacting my enjoyment of it because it turned into a chore rather than an exploration.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, like just for whatever reason, it didn't grab me. And I like sports movies. This one didn't quite. It just felt very simple or it's very generic. It can make me think of like a streaming or a TV movie,
Mm,
in terms of like the dialogue and writing and everything. So, but I can't say it's awful or anything. It just didn't grab me under the
yeah.
specific circumstances with which I watched it.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
so,
gotcha.
so I think I don't have a particularly noteworthy opinion on it besides it isn't enough to overcome a bad day.
Mm. Yeah. All right. That's I completely understand. Yeah. I guess with me, it's just, I mean, I know so much about I know, I know about the story of the team and,
Yep, I
it just,
right, and I probably watched the Fat Electrician video on it like 2 years ago or something. So
yeah,
definitely not fresh on my mind.
yeah, yeah.
Oh. But what is very fresh
Mm.
is the fine produce grown on Clarkson's farm. Daniel, you finished up season 5 after doing your first impressions.
Yes, I got to finishing it up. So I the scheduling I didn't realize what I didn't realize was so the last two episodes dropped last night, and then the previous two episodes dropped the week before. So I actually did have time to watch all four last four episodes for this show. And so the mainly what happens on the farm from the from the back half of the season is you have different things cropping up, no pun intended. um they're still kind of dealing, Clarkson's still dealing with some issues with the pub, and then you had oh god, what was it was so so Clarkson has a thing for so he's got these two tractors that are they're both Lamborghinis, but one of them was just like if it was a car, you would call it a lemon. It was just not working very well, and so he tries to sell it at an auction, and the he paid £80,000 for it, and I think he sold it for like £74,000, so he lost a lot. So he lost some money on it. Um, and but what was really the real funny episode was when Clarkson decided to host we called it a dare night at the pub, where they were making like a bunch of dishes and food that you wouldn't normally eat. And it was like just like stuff like, oh no way, like fried squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um Snail escargot, or not snail escargot, that's redundant. Snail caviar.
Yeah. Snail eggs?
Snail eggs, yeah. And like pig's ears, tripe, lamb brain, just a whole bunch of, like, oh yeah. And then for the palate cleanser, quote unquote, uh he had a guy he worked with a few seasons before making hot sauce, and the guy made this hot sauce that, if you know anything about like how they measure like the spiciness or the hotness of
Right. The Schofield, right?
Schofield, right? This one that this guy made, it was 15 million on the Schofield.
Oh my.
Yeah, and then he made a couple other ones that were lower than that, like 7 million and 8 million, and no, Ninja, not no, I didn't have a block of cheese and block of cheese. What was it? Was that one of them? I can't remember. Um, but uh, but yeah. So they try it out, and of course the guy that made the chili is just like, oh man, this is gonna be really hot. And Clarkson said, not since Oppenheimer have I seen somebody so terrified of their own creation. Yeah. And so they take, they put a little dab of it on a piece of bread, and they both eat it, and they're kind of sitting there like, And the guy's like, well, maybe it's not so bad. And Clarkson's like, no, it's really bad. And Clarkson goes over
Classic guy Knight's behavior.
oh yeah, yeah. Clarkson goes over to the beer tap and he's like, drink the beer. But so they added that for the palate cleanser at the end, and this poor guy actually got sick. He actually went outside and was heaving over the side of the deck, and there's one guy that's just like his shirt was just drenched in sweat. um, but then of course the last two episodes, however, were very somber. And Jeremy Clarkson actually posted a reel on Instagram warning everybody about that, like the day of the episodes dropping. So if you've been on Twitter today, you probably saw some of the posts. In the second to last episode, Clarkson revealed that he had a very aggressive form of prostate cancer, and he did say they caught it early, so seemed like it was treatable, and it wasn't devastating or anything, like not horribly devastating. But I don't think in the scene where he does that, I don't think it was rehearsed, because I mean the looks on Caleb and Charlie's faces were like shock, and Caleb was actually getting emotional about it. I think I mentioned that in my first review, that when Jeremy had his heart problems, like Caleb was legitimately worried about him. Like he was very concerned, and you could see like he was getting emotional about it. And but yeah, so there was that. And of course they bring it up because he had to go in for his treatments during the harvest, and unfortunately that didn't go very well for him, because so the previous season it rained nonstop for him, for most of the year. Then this season, not a drop of rain, so they were going through a drought, which meant they weren't getting nearly as many, or getting nearly as high of a yield on their crops as they had in the past. I mean, they showed their mustard seed area was just like a little pile of mustard seeds, and they also tried to plant onions, and I can't remember what the other crop was, and the crops failed to grow. But then of course there's also with their cows. So season 2, I believe, was when Clarkson they brought in the cows, and that year was also when they had an outbreak of bovine tuberculosis, which there is no cure for that. So if a cow gets TB, that's it. The cows has to be put down. And so what happened here was that they were testing them all, and the way they did the test, and I kind of agree with Clarkson, it seemed very haphazard. They take like a little measuring whatever those called, where you not like it's kind of like a wrench, and what they do is they measure these lumps on them. Yeah, not really a wrench. It's I don't know what they're called.
Calipers, maybe, or
caliper. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and they measure the lumps on there, and they see how big the lumps are. And so as they're doing it, one of the cows was borderline in terms of the size of the lump, and then actually two of the cows were borderline on the size of the lump, and unfortunately one of those cows was his bull, end game, that they call him, and he's like just a great bull. He's very he's a strapping guy, as they say, and he's got some good genes in him, and of course now they're like, oh God, is he sick? And then they took like the last cow that they did was she was pregnant with twins, and they said it was inconclusive, so they thought that she might have had it. And so they quarantined her, and then they also quarantined Endgame because they're worried that they don't want him getting sick. And then so they went back and tested the cow again with the twins. Once again, the tests came back inconclusive, and apparently, if you get two inconclusive tests with TB, they have to put the cow down. Which
So you just lost a linchpin of your operation.
Yes, yeah, and needless to say, Clarkson was not happy about that at all. And so, and of course, the real kicker was in the last episode when Charlie comes back to him and says, they put the cow down, and then they did a post-mortem, and it turns out the cow didn't have TB.
Oh no!
Yeah, and Clarkson said, the expression "blood is boiling." He said, "My blood's boiling right now," and I don't blame him because he lost a cow and two calves because the cow might have had tuberculosis.
And then it didn't.
Yeah. And so there are a lot of and then there was another one where there was a calf that had pneumonia, and she wasn't getting any better, so they put her in a pen with her mom, and the calf was just never getting better, and they figured out it was because when the calf was born, it wasn't getting enough. Right after it was born, she didn't get enough nutrients from the mom's milk, and so she didn't have a good immune system. So they're like, okay, so they just said, okay, well, you have to put her down. So it was just, it was, there was just a lot of stuff like that happening, and
it's kind of amazing that any farms survive whatsoever when you get down to it.
Oh yeah, and well, and a lot of them, sadly, a lot of them don't. A lot of them do end up having to shut down because they don't have enough money to to keep going, and that was the thing at the end of the show when Clarkson's going through the numbers and everything, and he actually lost about 5,000 pounds for the year, and so he looked at Charlie, his farm guy, and he said, I got to pay. He said he has to pay him 75,000 pounds out of his own pocket to fund the next season's all the farming and everything for like the seed and the fertilizer and everything, feed and
Right, like not everybody has their grand tour money to throw into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that was what Clarkson. He, I know he said it in aggravation, but it was when the cow, with the twins had, said that she had to be put down, and he's like, why does anybody do farming? Because stuff like that happening. But and of course the last image or the last video we have in the season is Clarkson right back in a hospital bed. He said, the season started with him in a hospital bed and ended with him in a hospital bed.
So just a regular downer.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And that was kind of the thing at the last dinner that they're having, where they're trying to focus on like positive things that happened. Well, I mean, they got some new, the automated, farming equipment they've got worked out really well. Oh, and there was this young woman that that came in. She was like a bird lady who was helping identify all the different birds that are around the farm, and she's very quirky. I think she spends most of her time with birds and not so much time with people. if you catch my drift.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's some positive things that happen. Like did I mention Caleb had another baby?
I don't know. I don't know that you did, but
Oh
good
yeah,
for him.
but yeah, he had his third kid. What else? Well, it sounds like the pub is doing better. And but and they got some sheep that are like easy care sheep. They don't have to shear them or anything like that, and they're actually more obedient, and they're producing some great lambs. So
Hmm. So these are less wool sheep and more meat sheep, or
I I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
so you've been on this 5-season journey with Clarkson.
Yeah.
It sounds like you would strongly recommend it.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If you haven't watched this show yet and you have a Prime subscription, yeah, you definitely need to watch it. Yeah.
I did see some jokes about they spent $1 billion on Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and more people watched these two British guys trying to run a farm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I can't remember who it was who pointed it out, but they said, yeah, because Clarkson's Farm has more likable characters.
Yep. Well, sounds like okay. I'm not going to say the season sounds like a good time, but it sounds like an investing time.
It is, yeah.
So I have no real transition to my personal thing, which basically I ended up watching a couple weeks back and just kept forgetting to bring it up.
Mm.
I watched the animated movie Mitchell's versus the Machines, which is currently up on Amazon. Excuse me, currently up on Netflix. I had Amazon on the brain.
Oh, yeah.
And Daniel and I had considered this as a review topic a couple months back, and he ended up watching a little bit of it first and just said, "No,
Mhm.
we're not doing this." He was dying of cringe poisoning about 10 minutes in.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't take it.
Not putting any words in your mouth.
No. No.
So so I ended up watching this with some family members while we were sitting around waiting on something, and I think that the reason I could appreciate it is well, okay, so I think that we both enjoy animation, but I'm more of a cartoon animation guy than Daniel is, like given the choice.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Now, but also I have a bit more cringe tolerance than he does for this sort of cartoon, because I think the way I would describe Mitchell's versus the Machines is it is the best modern audience movie I've ever seen. Partially because well, partially because the characters do feel like people you've actually met, for good or ill.
Mm.
But also the movie is just very energetic. It's almost like ADHD. It never really stops with the quips, which whether or not that is a good or bad thing is about 130% based on, well, how good are the quips?
Mm.
And for me, like I would say it had at least like a 50% hit rate most of the time.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is, okay, so overall premise, and this is where it would be very easy to be cynical about this movie in a lot of ways, especially if you're the type who enjoys things like Critical Drinker and that kind of worldview. Oh, so you have a college girl who's going to go off to school, and she's going to go to this art college, and her dad isn't sure if she should go for her dreams. And he wants her to have a fallback, but no, that's quitter talk.
Yeah.
And so she's going to fly off, and they have a big argument where he breaks her laptop that she uses to make these little YouTube videos that are, I'm trying to think of what channel I would even compare them to. It's extremely random. Like because she basically just makes these little home movies, then jazzes them up in post. Usually starring their family pug. But so the dad breaks her laptop when they're having an argument about, like, accidentally, of course.
Yeah.
We're having an argument about whether she should go to art school. Like, he looks at her weird cartoons and goes, can you actually make a living off of this? Which, like a responsible father would.
Yeah.
So, now meanwhile, so the dad, I'm not sure that you could actually do this. He cancels the plane tickets, which are in her name, but I guess he paid for them.
Yeah.
And he arbitrarily declares, we're going to drive across the country on a road trip instead of you just flying right to the college. During homecoming week, which she's upset about because she wanted to go hang out with her own people, where she feels like she doesn't get along with her family. Now, so the cast: Katie, the daughter, voiced by Abby Jacobson. Not familiar with her from other things. The dad is Danny McBride, character named Rick. Possibly the best performance in the movie, because he was able to bounce between being silly and serious when he needs to.
Danny. Sorry to interrupt you. Danny McBride. Yeah, he was Kenny Powers in Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one, but I've seen him around in things.
Yeah.
The mom is Maya Rudolph, who I know best, I should say, from Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
Michael Rianda is the son. The mom is a very Marge Simpson-y character, I think is a fair way to put it. Very sincere, just classic mom character. And then you have Michael Rianda as Aaron, the clearly autistic son, who I definitely sympathized with because he loves dinosaurs way too much. So, he's upset about his sister leaving because she was like his only dino buddy. So as they're driving across the country, the bad guy, voiced by Eric Andre, actually no, he's not the bad guy. He's more of he is Steve Jobs, where he has created a AI assistant that, and his next step is he has built autonomous robots with the new AI version. And so he's basically throwing out his old version of Siri called Pal. And Pal doesn't take kindly to that, and initiates a robotic overtaking of humanity that will result in all 8 billion humans in the world being loaded up into cubes and launched into space. Because the kind of obvious theme about the movie is that it's about not tossing aside people and appreciating your family, which is it's a good message for the kids.
Yeah.
And so I think that kids would enjoy this quite a bit. It's very frenetic. There's a lot of silliness, a lot of action scenes. There's humor that a lot of people could, somebody like this. Like, the dad is completely hopeless with technology, and there's a scene in the movie where he's the one who has to upload the command to the robots to shut them down.
Yeah,
it's basically boomers it up the whole way through. The animation style is what's funny is, so this is not quite what it looks like. This is a 2D version of the drawings with some 3D moved in. When I get the actual thumbnail, I'll get a real movie poster for it.
Yeah.
It is very much a Tumblr-ish aesthetic, where characters aren't necessarily meant to look beautiful, more meant to look like cartoony and evocative, I guess is the way I would put it. It is an art style that I find it interesting when you watch these people who are clearly Tumblr influenced in terms of their aesthetics. The actual movie itself will look fine in 3D, and then you hit the end and it's like, oh man, they made this so much more appealing when they added that third dimension. I remember having a similar thought when we watched what was that Pixar movie about the fire people and the water people?
Oh,
Elemental. That's it.
Elemental. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember having the same thought there with Ruby Gillman, the DreamWorks movie. It's just a style that is benefits from not being on the page,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Hmm.
Now, and what I thought was really funny about it in retrospect is that, so this thing was going to come out in 2020, 2021, but then the pandemic hit and the movie theaters were shut down. So it ended up getting an all digital release, and it was kind of a pandemic sleeper hit as far as I can tell.
Mm.
It was streaming on Netflix when I watched it last month, but it had a bunch of 2021 isms. Like, you might notice here that the daughter has a pride button on her shirt the entire movie.
Yeah.
Which, if that had been 2023, would have probably sparked some sort of war if anybody had paid attention to it. And at the end of the movie, she, the one girl who she was really looking forward to meeting at the school, well, they've cut to several months later and they're just dating and nobody really thinks much of it. Which the thought that came to my mind there was, which was the style at the time.
Yeah.
But so not saying there's anything wrong with that per se. I'm just saying it's kind of funny in retrospect.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, again, it seems like the movie was, or it is funny just how things switched a little bit in the 3 or 4 intervening years since then. I guess 5 intervening years now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, that's really
wow. Just in terms of that being a big deal or not.
Yeah.
Plus, let's be honest here. Art school student dresses like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she can't be straight, but it seems statistically unlikely.
Yeah. It's a bright flashing light.
Yes. Anyway, so overall, I do actually give this a recommend. Of course, watch it on streaming. Don't pay extra money for it because you might bounce off of it the same way Daniel did. But I think that if it appeals to you at all in the first 5 minutes or so, it's just like a very offbeat movie. It's in kind of a fun, quirky way, and it feels okay. You know what? We often will complain that a lot of these animated movies feel like therapy for the director, especially like a lot of the newer Pixar movies.
Yeah.
I think the best way I can describe this is they actually made the therapy session fun and of interest to other people, which is hard.
Yeah. That can be a challenge.
But that's my overall thoughts on it. Like I said before, it's on Netflix. You can also rent it places like Amazon if you don't want to do the extra subscription. Speaking of somewhat Pride Month coded movies on Netflix.
Yes.
When we did this back to back with Birdcage last week, we weren't seeking it out for June. It just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. Yeah. Yeah. So this week, we had Tootsie. The classic cross-dressing comedy, not called Some Like It Hot.
Yes. Daniel, tell me about that list you telling me about a couple days ago.
Yeah, so it was the AFI, American Film Institute. They did like the top 100 movies of all time, and they had the top 100 comedies, and they had Some Like It Hot at number 1, and then they had this movie at number 2.
I'm just going to myself, okay, now we know what the person who made that list is into.
Yeah.
I do. Some Like It Hot. fine movie, and I
Yeah.
would agree that it's a finer movie than Tootsie.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. Ninja. Are you guys saying something? No, we're not saying anything, Ninja.
Uh,
It's just it just
It's just
happened.
weird coincidence.
It just happened to work out that way.
Because, like, okay, this is Tootsie's, this particular movie poster is
Yeah.
one that you would walk by a lot in video rental stores back in the day.
Yeah.
I just never seen it, so I'd always been curious, and it popped up in my Netflix recommends. So when we were looking for
Yes.
topics for the next week.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So and I'd seen like people referencing it, here and there for a while. So I thought, yeah, I might as well give it a watch. This movie came out in 1982, which I actually thought it was older than that. I thought it was like late 70s, um, but yeah. So Tootsie is about Dustin Hoffman's character, Michael Dorsey, who is a uh, very arrogant and very egotistical, out of work actor who teaches an acting class and also works also works as a waiter, uh, and he has
The
a
classic struggling actor hustle.
right, yes, and he's in New York, and he lives in a rather nice, loft apartment with Bill Murray, who's Bill Murray's character, who's a playwright, um,
And also a waiter.
and also a waiter. Yeah, and one of his a friend of his, who's also one of his students, young woman named Sandy, who's played by Terry Garr. She Most people remember her from Young Frankenstein. She was the babe, with the great knockers.
Why, thank
And
you.
thank you. And she was also in After Hours, that Scorsese movie that we watched.
I knew there was a reason besides a couple of thematic elements that this reminded me of After Hours.
Right, yeah, they're both New York movies in the 80s. Yeah, and Terry Garr playing a very insecure character.
Yeah. You also have Dabney Coleman, who, besides this, was also the boss in 9 to 5. Guys seem to have a career playing jerks.
Yeah. Well, typecasting is a thing in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the inciting incident. He's Dustin Hoffman's character is finally desperate for work. The girl he's dating / sleeping with gets rejected from this part to be in this soap opera. He's talking with his agent, and the agent goes, "You're toxic. You turn he makes every shoot 10 times longer than it needs to be because he has so many opinions."
yeah.
You were playing a tomato. I played the best damn tomato.
Yeah.
The shot. I'm paraphrasing. The shot took 6 hours for like a canned soup commercial or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the beginning of the movie, they're showing a vignette of him doing all these auditions and doing all these parts. And there's one where he's playing Dostoevsky, and he's just doing the scene where he's dying, and the director's like, "Well, can you move out further on stage in the middle of the stage so you can give your last speech before you die?" You're like, "You want me to get up and walk to do the speech while I'm dying?" But yeah, so
right. It's then like one of the all-time, or one of the greatest transitions ever.
Oh yeah.
Pun not intended.
So his agents like say nobody will work with you, and you never everybody hates you. You're like, oh really? And then quick cut to him and drag.
Yes, reasonably convincing drag at that.
Yeah.
So it was funny just because it was so abrupt. I was okay. So how you know of a movie, you kind of imagine what you think the movie will be like. I was expecting there to be more of a transition to that. Really, the only hint that you had that he could pull this off is that he had put on makeup earlier in the movie when he was trying out for these different roles.
Right. Yeah.
So you
Y-
established that he could potentially pull this off.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, because usually with movies like this, he'd like, he'd storm out of the office and be like, "Oh, I'll show you," or whatever, and then
Yeah.
he might like walk like in front of like a boutique or whatever and see a woman, in makeup or whatever, and then like, ah,
Right.
that's it. Yeah,
Or you might have like a more elaborate scene like in Mrs. Doubtfire.
yeah,
Like where you show like the behind the scenes of how he pulled this off. Like, nope, just smash cut.
yeah,
And he goes in, and I struggle to figure out what message this movie was actually trying to send. Because
yeah.
like one of the themes you could pull away from it was that it's okay to be an opinionated jerk if you're a woman. Because he's
I
basically being himself, just with a
yeah,
put on southern falsetto.
yeah, yeah. That. Yeah, but then they transition to like, well, women can't, women don't have a voice in the workplace, and and all this.
Except that the main owner of the like the main I don't know if the showrunner person from the studio is a woman
Yeah,
who is the big boss of the soap opera.
yeah. Of course, yeah, and as you mentioned, DB, Dabney Coleman playing the director, who's very much a sexist pig. He calls all of the women, either honey or sweetie, and
or
the
or toots.
or toots, yeah, or yeah, and that's really, yeah. Then the title of the movie, Tootsie, like, oh,
Yeah.
what's wrong, Tootsie? Like, don't call me that.
And the weird thing to me is that I was expecting him to be a bigger presence in the movie. I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
see. This is going to be about Dustin's character learning about, how hard women have it in the workplace and him gaining a better understanding.
yeah, yeah,
Where
kind of, yeah,
it's
yeah.
really more of a romance story between him and one of his fellow actresses.
Yeah, that's yeah. It transitions to that. Yeah, with Jessica Lange, yeah, playing Julie. Um, yeah, they develop a friendship. Of course, Julie thinks that the Dorothy is the Dustin Hoffman's female character, and the name of the female character. She Julie thinks Dorothy is a woman, but it's actually a man in drag, and so she kind of they she thinks she's developing this like mentor mentee kind of relationship, and or like Dorothy, she kind of sees Dorothy as like an older aunt kind of thing.
Right, where
Yeah,
he's turned on by this single mother actress blonde he's hanging around with,
right.
when he has a perfectly good blonde actress at home who he
Yeah,
neglects.
yes. And Bill Murray's like, I think you feel like you're gonna burn in hell for this.
Which, you know what? The way he's treating that poor, nice girl he kind of took advantage of and stole the job out from under.
Yeah, yeah. uh, yeah. Ooh.
I can't entirely disagree with that assessment, Bill.
No, yeah, exactly. Oh man.
And so I put a pin in this reminded me of After Hours, um, in the same sense that, like, what am I supposed to take away from this movie?
Yeah. Yeah, what's
'Cause
what's the lesson here? Yeah.
like in After Hours, the lesson was don't go out after midnight in New York, no matter how hot she is. Which is, you know what? That is actually a fine life lesson for people to learn. How to
Yes.
think about it.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
For this one though, it's peculiar.
Yeah.
It's like no moral theater because he kind of gets everything he wanted, even
Yeah.
though he lied to people, broke a heart on the way, um,
Yeah.
literally strung someone along after she begged him, "Don't string me along."
Right. Yeah.
Um, and I was almost expecting the Dabney Coleman director character to like come on to him, but I guess he was actually Pretty People. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But like the love interest's dad actually proposes to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's men make the best women. I don't know, man. It's
Oh no. Yeah. I can't help you there.
the other
uh,
thing is that like if the thing is, oh, women don't have power, um he is basically himself all the time, and he's just constantly rewriting his scenes to be more empowered or whatever.
right. Yeah.
And so it's just I think that I would have liked this movie better. I feel like this movie is very New York, and there's like
Oh,
this
it
New
is.
York sensibility that I see in older media like that's about people living in the city, where it's like, is everyone just an asshole around here? I think everyone's just an asshole around here.
Yeah, I think my uncle would have agreed with you about that. Yeah, because he, having lived in New York for a long time, and he was basically like the characters in these movies. He was one of these struggling actors trying to make it big, and just never, could never do it. And so yeah, and I, I I have no doubt he dealt with people like Dustin Hoffman's character all the time in New York.
Yeah, so is this a comedy is always kind of hard to review because while one person's comedic sensibilities will be different than another, like see our last
Yeah.
review of Mitchell's versus the Machines, where Daniel cringed out of his skin
Mm,
and I enjoyed myself.
yeah.
I think we both came away with this not putting it at our number two
No.
of all time comedies.
Yeah, the only reason I could think why they had it ranked that high was because of the social commentary, of which, like, as we already mentioned, was really confusing.
Right. It's like, sure, there's commentary you can read into it, but it's not like it's the movie itself reinforces the commentary and direction they went with it.
Yeah,
Um, I will give them credit for the way he gets out of his dilemma of having to be Dorothy for an extended period of time
yeah,
was pretty clever. A little bit
yeah,
contrived that he ended up in that situation in the first place, but
yeah.
it was very soap opera.
Oh yeah.
It felt like one of the soap opera parodies on Futurama with All My Circuits.
Oh yeah. I want to say yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say it's a decent enough movie, and there are a lot of scenes in there where I was laughing out loud, and but
Yep. All right. I'd say a lot of the comedy is based on it being awkward, and I could see that. Excuse me. I could see it being see it being too much for some people.
yeah,
Meanwhile, like for where I sit, I tend to like comedies where the main character is a good person in bad situations and you want to root for them. I rooted for everyone around Dustin Hoffman's character,
yeah, yeah.
not so much
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. I don't think he learned anything by the end
No,
of the movie.
because he lied to people and was bad and got everything he wanted.
Yeah.
He didn't have to
Uh,
learn to compromise or be less opinionated or anything.
nope. Oh man. Yeah. Well, as we said, this movie is currently on Netflix. In case anyone is interested.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think we said all we need to say for tonight.
And probably more.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, buy some books, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Good night.